everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Happy Sunday. Let's chat on Sunday. Let's just chat on Sunday, shall we? So usually, as you know, like last week, I kind of just got straight to the readings because that's what I was kind of prompted to do. This week, I was prompted to share something at the beginning, and then I'll go to the chat. And you can put in your spiritual questions. But hello, Sandra in Connecticut. Hello, everybody. Anybody that has a wrench, Seascape, Sandra, Connecticut. You're on a troll patrol. So, and we, like I said, we're lucky that way. I'm really grateful that we're lucky that way. But I was prompted, because this is going to be kind of in a bigger context, but I was prompted to start today by sharing my pre-birth memory. And I haven't really said the whole thing. I've kind of alluded to parts of it. So there probably are parts of it you've heard, some of you. And it's short. It's not a very long memory. But the reason that I had it was because I did a meditation that was to find out your spirit name, what your name is in spirit. Now, we don't have names like we do here in spirit. If you've never heard me talk about this before, you may already know this, but we have a kind of how it was presented to me is kind of like an energetic imprint, like a fingerprint or DNA. It's like it's unique to us. And that's how we know each other, is kind of from our imprint. It's also how we resonate with each other, right? Doesn't that make sense? Because we have a certain resonance ourselves, and then we resonate or don't resonate with other people. And it's not a good or bad thing in the spirit realm. It's just it just is, you just kind of, and that's why you have like your spirit family and your people you travel with and all those things. But spirit can give you a name that sort of represents or has the same vibrational frequency as your energetic imprint. So they can give you a name that kind of would represent that energetic imprint here. And so, but at the time I didn't know that. I just thought it was a name. And also, just an aside, with your guides, if they give you a name that's their name, that like if you ask them what's your name, they'll give you a name. But it usually is a name that tells you either your relationship to them, something about them. If you got the name like, I don't know, Sitting Eagle, it would conjure up certain things for you. It would let you know, that sounds Native American. That sounds like some, really connected to the earth and connected to animals. And, it tells you something, right? It tells you something about them. It's not necessarily that is their name. It's a representation, or it's a vibrational representation of their name, right? Tell you something, give you a story. So anyway, I was doing this meditation that was to find my spirit name. And in the meditation, it's a guided meditation. They would take you back like through childhood and through childhood memories, and then like your first memory, and then like in the womb, and then back and back and back. And when they took you back before, like you coming to Earth, I was seeing this picture that kind of came to life. And what it was I was laying on a hill, and it was like green grass, generic tree, blue sky. And I have thought, was there anything else? Was there anything else that I could determine? But those are the things that stood out. It was like a green hill, tree, blue sky. And I was laying there, and I remember thinking or feeling or knowing I made this, and that I made it as kind of a representation of Earth because I loved it so much and because I couldn't wait to go back. I was excited to go back. I can't even think about that right now. Oh, what was I thinking? But that's what the feeling was. And it was just like overwhelming love for this place. And to me, it was almost like I had made this representation, almost like if you saw your favorite band and you put your poster on the wall. It's like, this is the band I love, and this is, I'm going to show how much I love them by doing this. It was kind of like that. I kind of made it as a little oasis and a little remembrance, and to just pretend I was on Earth, even though I wasn't. And as I was laying there, a male and female spirit, or a masculine and feminine spirit, because it looked like a guy and a girl, flew across the sky that I was looking at. And I jumped up. I flew up, or I jumped up to meet them. And all at once, and this reminds me of what NDEers say when they say like everything's kind of simultaneous. All at once, I said to them, "You're here. You surprised me. That's funny. I love you. You came here." All of kind of a greeting, and also connoting my love for them, and that it was funny that they did this. And then they're saying to me, "We surprised you. We thought this would be funny. Isn't this funny? We came into your scene and what are you doing? And we love you," and that kind of thing. And we're just kind of having this experience. And then that's it. That was the memory. And when I came back, or whatever, when I woke up, or when I came out of it was like, it was imprinted like any memory of mine, like any memory of childhood, any memory. It was there now. It was a memory, and it's never changed. It's never different. I have tried and tried to pull more out of it. I really haven't been able to. But in the bigger context, what I want to say about that is that was a really unique and weird and cool experience that I've kept kind of just to myself, because it's just such a weird thing. And you can't really explain how that little piece was different than every other guided meditation I've done. I don't know why that is, but the fact that it is tells me it's something. And I wasn't as familiar with pre-birth memories as I am now. So now I know, oh, that was a pre-birth memory. But that little piece, it was just vivid and different and stuck, right? I've had a million meditations and I can't tell you anything that happened in them. There's only a couple that really stick out. But that little piece was very telling. It also told me something about myself that I still can't believe, but that I came here because I love this place. There's something about it I love, and I like being here. And when I'm not here, I miss it. Right. So it gave me that insight. But what I want to say about this is that came along out of the blue. I wasn't really asking for something like that. I was just kind of doing this meditation because it sounded like fun. And those kinds of experiences are few and far between, even as a reader. Like, I do this every day. I meditate every day. I pray every day. I do all of these things every day. And those kinds of isolated, kind of life-changing experiences are few and far between. They just don't happen that often. And so the bigger context I felt like my guides wanted me to share is that if you're in this place where you're like, I keep asking for an experience, or I keep asking for this or that, or I'm stuck, or I'm not moving, and that is normal. That is normal. Sometimes you have maybe like a little cluster of like really big experiences all together, or really memorable ones. And then you want to have something for a long time. And when I recently had my out of body experience, which again, I'm still integrating, I'm still figuring that out. And when I figure it out, I will share it. But even though I had been asking to have that experience for 6 months, and I had been working on it and doing all kinds of different techniques and things and learning, going through, I did the whole Robert Monroe series and again and again and again. And when I had it, it was when I least expected it. And I also don't think I was completely ready for it, even though I had prepared for months. And that's the other part of this, is that your guides and your higher self will decide when you're ready for something. As people, so often it's like, when I think of it, or when I think that would be cool to have happen, or that, then I think it should be happening right now because I've decided I want to have that experience. There is some of that in, like, you need to kind of manifest it and ask for it and work towards it and that kind of thing. But ultimately, your higher self and your guides will decide when a good time is. And I'll say me too, need to trust that. Because there's a lot to do with this that has to do also with the environment we're in. We're in a very low vibrating environment, and it's very heavy, and bringing things like that in, they have a resonance, and they have a frequency, and they don't want to shock our system. They don't, because I can tell you that the out of body experience I had was extremely physical. It had a physical impact on me. I was exhausted for days. So they know when it's a good time. And in between, just don't give up, and don't think no one's listening, and and don't feel like you're not being heard, because I promise you are. It's just that there may be a reason why it's not happening right this second. It could be a readiness thing. It could be there's a better time for this thing. But kind of trust that there's a higher order to this, and you'll have it when you have it. But don't think something's wrong, you're not connected, nobody's hearing you. It's none of those things. It's just that they want to give us things in bite-sized pieces that we can absorb and we can make sense of, and then take time to integrate it and those kinds of things. So I just wanted to put that out there for whoever needs to hear that right now. If you're feeling like I keep asking and nothing's happening, and it'll happen. It'll happen. Trust me, it'll happen. But it will happen at the right time, and when it's a good time. And like I said, we especially in America, I know this is people watch from all over the place, but especially in America, it's the I want it now kind of culture. Whatever we want it right this second, and that's what it is. So that's part of it. Culturally, that's part of it. It's like everything's self-service and at your fingertips, and we want that to be too. But it's different. Spiritual things are different. They run differently. They run on a different clock, and and keep asking, keep plugging in, keep doing your spiritual work, and it will happen. I promise it will. But like I said, even for readers and people that do this all the time, those kind of isolated things, they're few and far between. They really are, and that's why they're so precious, and that's why people talk about them and stuff, because they're not just, you don't have them every day. Okay. So let's go to the questions, and I just kind of answer questions if I can answer it, I will. If it's something I've experienced or I know, I will say, but if not, I will give it to my guides and ask them to weigh in. And I'll do the best I can to translate. It's not going to be perfect, but I do my best. And like I said, like I usually let you know, is that if you ask a question that's personal, I try to kind of make it so that it's less personal and more communal, just so everybody can benefit from it. So I have a weird question that's on the menu for today. I know on the other side, it's all love and I've heard no judgment. How does that happen? Human emotion disappears instantly at death. I'm going to ask my guides about this, but I'm going to tell you that one thing is that the spirit realm, even the realm just outside of our realm that's kind of here, it's at a different frequency. And you hear about like higher vibrating, lower vibrating, or I like faster and slower to me, or heavier and lighter, that kind of, because I don't like to make it sound like it's bad. It's just different. It's a different resonance. That it's almost like it doesn't translate there. So yeah. And we can remember, like we can carry things with us in like our memory, or like disappointment, like, oh, I didn't do that right, or I wish I had done this differently, but it's not quite the same. It's different. We just have our soul does not, our soul vibrates at a different frequency. Our inside the body, this is like a casing that kind of keeps us kind of locked in to five senses, so that we can have this experience and we can perceive things. We can see matter. We can see things. We can see, objects and things, and we can experience this by touch and by smell in a completely different way. It's what we have to be in to experience this realm. But when we leave, you think of everything attached to the human body, right? Even those depths of emotion, it's a physical thing, it's a brain thing. And when you don't have the brain and the physicality, what's left? Consciousness, just your conscious awareness. And that is not judgmental. And you can still have the memory of your lifetime and go through it. And you're still very much, I always think of our spirit self as kind of us on our best, happiest day without the baggage. That's really what our spirit is. And if you can't think of it as an adult, think of back when you were at a carefree age in your life. That's where you are. And so it's not that we don't have an understanding of them, and it's not that we don't remember them when we're there, like remember having these emotions, or remember feeling like this or that. It's that it can't translate there. It's not made of the same stuff. So it doesn't fit. It's almost like trying to fit something through a window that the window isn't big enough for. It's like it doesn't fit. Let me ask my guides if they can expand on that at all. So they're talking about perspective, and they're saying, also remember perspective. When you're there, you have a much higher and wiser and bigger perspective. You remember not only this lifetime, but all the lifetimes you've had, all the stuff you've done, all the mistakes you made, all the good things you did. So there's this huge perspective that comes back. And they're saying exactly that you remember these things, but it's almost like an analytical way of seeing things. It's not laced with all of the drama and emotions and things that you had here. It just doesn't translate there. It's not the same. It's one of the reasons we come here. Otherwise, how would we know what it feels like to feel that lowness of depression or that heaviness of grief? No such thing there. No such thing. You've heard my guides say on other whatever you want to say, broadcasts or videos, that we come here to experience what we are not. And part of that is so that we can understand what we are. You don't fully understand happiness, what happiness is, until you've experienced sadness. And then you know the difference. And then you really appreciate happiness, right? When you've been sad, you really appreciate when you're happy. It's that same kind of thing. We're here experiencing lower vibrations and lower frequencies, not only to understand them and experiencing, but also to try to transmute them as well while we're here, right? Finding a way to lift ourselves out of depression or lift other people out. That's the other thing, is that we're all here together, right? We're all here trying to help each other. The other thing that came across to me in many readings that I've done is how selfless we are as spirits. We're so selfless. There's no selfishness at all. It doesn't make sense because we're so aware of the oneness of everything, that if I were to do something awful to you, I'm doing it to me. It's the same thing. It's so clear. Here we lose that here because we have this separateness of our body and our brain, and we can close things off, and you don't know what I'm thinking and I don't know what you're thinking. So there's a separateness, a perceived separateness. But there, it's so obvious. We're all connected, and everything we do affects everyone else. Is there anything else? Yeah, so I'm going to leave that there. But yeah, so in a way, yeah, it is. Some things do just leave. They're also bringing up the fact that you can be pulled in by people. For example, if you did something, really jerky to somebody, say you cut them out of your will and then you pass away, you might feel through their experience, because you're connected, right? You can feel what they're feeling. You can have a sense of it. It's not quite the same as when you're in the body, but you can get a sense of that. You can feel, that they feel sad, or you can hear what they're thinking. And so you have a kind of a pull to earth that reminds you of what you leave in your wake. But you still have a very pragmatic understanding that, oh, well, they'll be here soon, so we'll talk about it. And you hear that all the time with NDEers. They have little children, and they'll be on the other side and think, oh, but they'll be fine. They'll be here. They'll be here shortly. I don't need to go back. It really, because it is like a blink of an eye. When we're back there, it seems like such a short amount of time. When we're here, it seems like forever. But when we're there, it seems like no time at all. So anyway, I hope that that's not too wordy and explains that. Okay. Good. You'll tune in. Keisha's listening while she's doing her chores, so that's great. And hi, Marcy. Jean is here. Enjoy. Galti is here. David is here. 90 degrees. Youch. It's going to be about like late 80s today here. So I think we're having one less little tiny heat wave. Hi, John of New. ethereal material. I was just watching John of New last night. What was he on about? No, I was looking at a video with John. What was it? Oh, it was about auras. Talking about auras. It was very interesting. And John's videos are always really interesting. And I like their little bite size, you can fit them in, just when you have a couple minutes. And I like that. Oh, this is one I'm going to have to leave to my guides because I don't know this stuff. Okay, Leslie Ray. I'm having my chai tea, which is delicious. I'm hearing about rare astrological events in October. A mini moon coming into Earth's orbit. How cute! The next 2 months, for example. Are these helping with light downloads and ascension? Thanks. Okay. They're showing something about like the spirit. They're showing it in a way that's almost like the spirit realm pulling the earth in closer. It kind of feels like the spirit realm, like I said, is kind of right outside of this realm. It's at a different frequency, but it's like it's right here. It almost feels like that's getting closer, or that's coming in, or being more. It's going to be more accessible, and I feel like this has something to do with resonance, like changing resonance. So it's like this stuff was always there, but we're just seeing it now. We're just aware of it now. So yeah, it is. It's about our resonance is kind of blending with the resonance or the frequency we can't see. And that's exciting because that place that I went with my OBE, that people go when they have near-death experiences, at least it's one of the places. It's not, all the places, but it's one of the places. That's where our family and people are hanging out. Pets. People are kind of like involved in the earth still. They have people here. It's kind of the way station where they come and go from, and where when you see a ghost in a building, or you see that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that, at least that's my take on it after my experience and through readings and stuff, that's what you're seeing, is you're in that consciousness you need to be in to see it. It's always there. So that's kind of what I'm getting from this. It's like this stuff has always been there, different colors, planets, things but we're getting closer. It's like it's coming in. And they show it as like they're pulling the earth in. And so, yeah, I think it has something to do too with the fact that we keep hearing about like the whole planet is kind of not ascending, but it's the vibration is changing. It's slight. It's not huge. It feels like it's individuals, but it's also like it's coming up from the earth as well. I don't understand all this, but I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can. But it's almost like these things are kind of merging, and so we're gonna start having stuff like this. People seeing more ETs and things they can't explain, and lights and things that used to be just on this side of the earth are now on this side of the earth. It's like it's all coming in. And it's like it's always there, but only this side of the earth could see it. But now we can see it over here too. And they're showing the northern lights again. They're saying that the northern lights is like that. It's a certain frequency. And it could depend on like the atmosphere, and that creates a higher frequency. It could be the people there, it could be the land there, it could be a lot of different things. Why they can see this stuff over here and not over here. But it's all shifting. So we're going to be having a lot of these kinds of experiences and things that feel like, oh, this is new or this is different, and not necessarily good or bad, just like we can see this now, we can experience this now. Hope this makes sense. I'll have to go back and listen to it and see if it makes sense. But I just kind of let my guides just like direct me and take over, because I don't understand so much of this. Good. So Sue Ellen, this is a spiritual show, but I'm trying to think of how I can ask this. By the way, just an aside from this, and it kind of reminds me of this, and I don't think it has anything, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but my guides went like this, which means, if you've seen me do that before, it's like the roller coaster when you put the shoulder things over your shoulders. It's when you're about to go upside down in a roller coaster. And they give me that sign when something is about to kind of be like, whoa, what just happened? I got it before Navalny was killed. I got it before, I got it a couple of weeks before the debate, with the debate with Biden. And I get it before events that are, and it could be like a few events, or it could be like a period of time, but it's usually when you feel a little discombobulated, where things kind of like shake you up a little bit. And so, what they always tell us, because they never want to just be like, be afraid, something's going to happen. It's not that. The reason they're telling us that and giving us that direction, that always tells me, get centered, get in your mind and get straight, where spirit's having a human experience. And keep that in the forefront of your thinking, that we're just having an experience here, right? We're just having an experience. We're spirits, we're eternal. And nothing can destroy that. We're just having a human experience here. And so getting that kind of in the forefront of your mind and kind of centering in that knowledge, and then just being able to kind of find your center, be calm. It's also their way of saying everything's going to be okay. Because like a roller coaster, right? You go through the ride and you're like, oh my God, what just happened? But you get off the ride and everything's fine. And they're saying, it's their way of saying, something's going to be kind of weird, but everything's okay. Okay. So just keep that in mind. My guides never, ever, ever are going to freak us out and scare us. And I stray away from certain subjects or certain things because I don't want to bring that in. But it's just kind of like a heads up, and with the direction, get centered and know that just an experience, everything's going to be fine. But yeah, so there you go. Just an aside, and I'm glad I remembered that. I don't know why I remembered that, but so well. And so I will give me that question again on Thursday Night Live, not this Thursday, but next Thursday. Okay. I don't think that's going to happen, just by the way, but I will check it out thoroughly on Thursday Night Live for you. Okay. 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 So Pam. Pam never hears her angels or guides, just crickets. Okay. So Pam, and this is good. This is good. I'm glad you're bringing this up, Pam, because in just the way you're saying this tells me something. Sometimes, first of all, guides, angels are a little less subtle, but guides are extremely subtle. I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay. Your guides, Pam, feel like you. Okay. They've been with you since you were born. So it's a little bit like saying, Pam, what does air feel like? Still air around you. What does it feel like? It's just a part of your atmosphere. It's part of it's just you. And part of the reason that they're meant to kind of be in the background is because we have free will. And they don't want to be telling us what to do. They give us subtle guidance. And even then we can say no. I've done that before. It's not a great idea because they're always trying to get us to go the easier, more joyful path. That's what they hope for us. They never want us to have to go the hard way, but we do as humans. It's just what we do. And it's okay. We'll get there. We'll get from A to B to C anyway. We'll go the hard way or the easy way. But so often things like out of the blue, you think to call someone, and then you call and they say, oh, I was just thinking about you, or oh, I'm so glad you called, blah, 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 blah. Times when you absolutely don't know what to do and you think of a solution that kind of seems to come out of nowhere. You're in dire straits and something, the perfect quote comes up on your computer, or you hear a song that answers that question. These things we attribute to ourselves. We think, oh, it's what a coincidence, or oh, I'm really smart. I thought of that solution. But those are the types of things that are your guides. It feels like you. And often, and the fact that you say hear, my angels or guides, that makes me think you're waiting to hear something. And so often you can feel them. Sometimes they'll give you chills. Sometimes you'll get kind of a warmth or a peace will come over you, particularly like in a difficult moment or a difficult time when you get that kind of that peace that passes all understanding. That can come over you sometimes in a crisis moment, or when you're about to go into surgery and all of a sudden you are just calm. That's usually angels and guides doing that, helping you. But they're interacting with you all day, all the time. And it's a matter of being able to it's really listening to your smarter, think of it as listening to your smarter self, yourself that when you're in, you're just on it, you're just thinking of things right and left and you're doing it all. Yeah, that's what when you're firing on all cylinders like that, that's when you're aligned with your guides. You can hear them well. You're aligned with your higher self. You can hear it really well. So that's kind of where you want to get to, but it's still going to feel like you, Pam. You have those weird moments when you feel something, but like I said, those are few and far between. It's usually these really subtle little things that kind of push you in a direction. Or maybe you don't know what to do, and then you keep hearing about this one class all the time. Your dad talks to you about it, and your brother talks to you about it, and you hear it from a friend. That's your guides. They're just coming through other places because they can't get through to you. So I promise you are hearing them, but it's coming through in a lot of different ways. And it's a matter of being kind of alert to that. So be alert. Once you ask your guide something, be alert, because they're going to answer you somehow, whether it's through a commercial on TV or a song or a friend or your neighbor. They're going to come through. But usually what happens is we'll ask a question and then we just check out and we think, well, I didn't hear anything, so they're not listening. No, once you've asked, be on alert until you get the answer. And it may take a few days. It may take a little while, because sometimes we're still not getting it, or we're not hearing it, or it's not getting through. They will keep trying. So I hope that clears a little. I mean, I could talk about this for I just did that, to talk about it for even longer, but try not to just clue into hearing or just seeing. Go to kind of feeling, inner feelings, thoughts that pop into your head, things that come to you, impressions, promptings. I just feel like going out and taking a walk, and then all of a sudden you feel so much better. That's your guys urging you, go out and take a walk, you'll feel better, right? So that's what you're looking for, Pam. It feels like you, just the smarter you, the you when you're, like I said, firing on all cylinders, things break through, and that's your guides. That's your guides. They work in, they're inseparable really from you. They work in such harmony with you. That's why they're your guides, because they work perfectly with you. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's ask about this. Linda C., do you guys have anything to say about when someone close to you dies on your birthday? My friend Marcia died on my birthday. Yeah. Let me see what they say about that. This does happen. And that it does have meaning, right? Because we all feel like that when, yeah. So they're kind of like, it would be impossible to list all of the meanings why, but they're kind of breaking it down into a couple of things, which is that we choose our significant dates. We choose our birthday. We choose significant dates. Some people, they're saying some people choose their death date, and some people choose a death period, like within this month, or within this couple of years span. But they give themselves kind of leeway because of maybe the way they're going to pass or what. But then there are spirits that pick a specific date. And they're saying that the reasons for it can be, it's almost like it too many to talk about. But one might be, for example, to highlight death and birth, someone leaving and someone coming into the world. So it's like a death date and a birth date, and it's highlighting that for you. We've seen that when an older person dies on the date of the birth of a baby, right? It's so obvious there, but they're saying that can be kind of a way to remind us or highlight. And they're saying too that a lot of times it's a reminder of something. It's to remind you of this. And they're saying, go to the obvious. Don't go to some, rando weird thing. Go to the obvious. So, Eckhart Tolle, take a drink, always says that there's no opposite to life. There's death and birth. Death is the opposite. Birth is the opposite of death. It's not life. Life has no opposite. And so I feel like what you may be in this case kind of highlighting the fact that here's a death and on a birth date, right? Reminding you of that, but also between that is life, the life that your friend had and the life you're still living. And there is this connection also between the two of you. And so it may be to reminding you, Marcia, that you are still here and that your life continues. But it's also, you're going to be thinking of your friend probably from now for forever on your birthday, right? So there's meaning there for it. So they're saying it's almost like and to me that also says like there are so many reasons why this can happen or why we do this. It tells me that it's personal to your story. It's personal to you. It's personal to you and the person, right? There's a connectivity there. So so that's what they're saying about it. So I hope that at least explains like there is significance to it, and it's kind of up to the individual to decide. And also to, like they said, go to the obvious. Don't go to some rando weird thing. Go to the obvious. Go to what does it tell you? Well, you're always going to think of your, and also their transition date, right, is a different kind of birth, right? It's kind of going back into the spirit realm. It's still living. To me, it all encompasses life in a way. So, yeah. Okay. So Moon Compass asks, I believe I have had deceased relatives visit me, but some haven't. How come some visit and some don't? Yeah, it's interesting, right? It is interesting how some visit and some don't. Well, they're saying they all visit, but it's our awareness. It's our being able to be aware of it. And it goes back to exactly what we were talking about. When you have that, you're in that state where you can perceive for whatever reason. So think about more rather than thinking about the person, think about the situation. So was it in a dream? Was it when you were just sitting on the couch and you were kind of just daydreaming? It's more to do with you and the headspace or the perception state you're in than anything else. But they're just saying we perceive some of them and we don't perceive other ones. And it could too have to do with your connection with them. It could, could be other things as well. Seeing if there's anything else to that. Yeah, because they're saying it's us. We're the limited ones, right? We're the ones that are locked into five senses. That's what we're locked into. So we have, it's incumbent upon us to grow out of this, to grow ourselves out of our five senses, because that's where they are. They're not in the five senses. Otherwise they would be in the body and they'd be here. That's how we perceive each other. Outside of the body, they're perceived differently. They have all access, right? Because they can perceive there, they can perceive here. It's us who are still limited. We're still locked in. We're locked into the five senses. And so we need to grow our sensitivity so we can feel energy. We need to work on opening our third eye, being able to detect telepathic messages, picking up those subtleties, right? You can pick up a camera and do orbs, that kind of bridges the gap. I talk about this in the beginning of my orb sessions, exactly this. But that's what they're talking about, is it's us being the perceivers. That's the problem. It's not them being around. They're saying almost everybody you lose that you love will come and see you before they go, or they come and kind of are around you at some point. It's the love that draws them in. They're saying, this is what they're saying. It's the love that kind of draws them in. It's like a bat signal, and they want to be there for you. But it's us. It's on us how we perceive and who we perceive. But that should make us all feel better, right? That are the people that we think, why didn't so? I thought for sure so and so would visit me. They probably have, but we weren't in a perceptive state that we could perceive them at that moment, right? They're in such a different time state too. We're in this linear, weird time state that if we don't perceive them here, the moment passes for us. And so it's like we move on. And they're in kind of a permanent now state, so they can be around us, but depending on when we're in that perceptive state. Like I said, when I saw my dad in my bedroom, I saw him. And as soon as like my husband jumped up and turned on the light and everything, and it's like I lost the gaze. I lost him. It faded. It was like I faded out of that consciousness. But I knew he was still there. I just couldn't perceive him anymore with my eyes. And that's how it is. And that's what I learned from my out-of-body experience, right? They're right here. They're right here. Especially when we like want them around and need them around and stuff. It's so weird to me that they're right here. We just can't perceive them because we're locked in the body. We're locked in the body. But we can grow our perceptions, right? We can grow outside of that. And that's what we're all working on here. And what we work on as readers, and it's perceiving outside of that. I do it, you can do it. But it is a matter of working on it and practicing it like you would practice anything, practice piano or practice some other thing you wanted to learn, right? But anybody can do that. Okay. So Melinda, how do you know if you have any guides? You do have guides. And it doesn't, we call them guides. You could call them, angels, your counsel, your buddies, some people say spirit team, your spirit family. You do. You have people in spirit trying to help you, or trying to kind of assist you, reminding you why you're here, reminding you what you came to do, telling you when it's time to leave, when it's time to move on from something and start a different chapter, because remember, you want to get this done too. So you have a team, and guides is just a name. There is a difference between guides and angels. From my understanding, most guides have once been human. So like your great grandfather can be your guide. You usually have some kind of personal connection with them that goes, that's usually over lifetimes. Angels have never been incarnate. They've never been human. And so a lot of times with angels, a couple of physical things that happen to a lot of people, not just me, you get a lightheadedness with a higher vibrating energy or an angelic energy. I always get like a kind of a swimmy kind of lightheadedness, and it comes on really quickly. It will just come upon you. And you can also get that though when an energy runs up on you and it's kind of a strong energy or a higher vibrating energy, and you get that kind of woo, that kind of swimmy feeling. The other thing is I'll get a ringing in my ears. And I don't know if this is, everybody gets those kind of physical things, but those are two things that I get. So if it's angels, you might look out for those couple of physical symptoms that you might get. And guides can give you chills. Ask your guides to give you chills for a yes or like a confirmation. And that's what they do for me all the time. Um, I think Seascape is asking about my pre-birth memory. I don't know, Seascape. I don't know. It kind of makes me think that it was before, like right before I came here. Like I was getting prepared. I may have been like in kind of a waiting area or something. I'm not sure, but I felt like I was, I felt like I was coming back and I was just excited. So it probably was after, I guess. So that's just a guess, though. I don't know that for sure. Yeah, and Andy says I had an out of body experience suddenly out of nowhere that changed my life. Didn't ask for it, just happened. Yeah, things like that can just happen, And but it's usually a lot of times things like that like change your life. A lot of times they're written into your script. They're written in at a certain time, or have this I'll have this experience if I'm on the wrong track, or if I need it, or that kind of thing. Um, yeah. So, but yeah, and they really pack a wallop. And I think, and that's why you don't have things like that every day. It would be too much. It would be too much. Yeah. And Gina, just keep trying. Keep trying. It will happen when you least expect it. It really will. It will happen. And yeah, it will happen. So but keep, I think that when you're trying, it's kind of preparing you. It's kind of preparing your body for that experience. It's preparing you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So what you're doing is you're setting the groundwork for when it does happen. It'll happen, but you're setting that. It's like you're laying the groundwork so that it can happen. And like I said, trust your guides, trust your family on the other side, trust it, because it will happen at the right time for you. Okay. So Leslie said your message was timely. I just was talking to my guides about this a few hours ago. So um, yeah, and just visiting too, I meditate every day for the last 10 years, and I wonder when it will make a difference in my spiritual journey. Well, it has. I mean, obviously it has. It's probably changed your resonance. It's probably made you a more even-keeled person. I'm sure that it's had enormous benefits, especially over 10 years. Um, but if you're saying having like a kind of a bigger experience, sometimes we need to change things up. So if you've been doing it kind of the same way for 10 years, or that kind of had the same routine, and we think of routine as being really, really good, and it is, but spirituality is expansive. And sometimes we need to, add in this or that to make it a little, to help it expand. And so add in a tool, or try cards, or try going to a, a different kind of like a meditation center, or go off to a retreat that sounds good. It's like kind of shake things up when you feel like you're stagnating, and it still may not have, you may not still have those giant experiences that you want. You might, but it's good to shift things around a little bit, because that does shift the energy, and it will make you'll feel kind of like something has shifted, even if it's subtle. Um, you might just feel more connected, or you might feel more at ease, or you might feel more at peace, or, it could be subtle, but make, shift things around a little bit, because maybe things have gotten a little stale, and you do kind of need to keep pushing your boundaries. Spirit is constantly trying to get us to jump over hurdles and make us a little bit uncomfortable, so that we can kind of grow ourselves. It is something that I feel like they're constantly doing when it comes to spirituality. I feel like it's something they're constantly doing. Like I said, right now I'm kind of going through a weird thing, right, that I feel like I need to push through, and it's been painful. It's been hard. It's been scary too, and I didn't know that I needed to do this. You know what I mean? It's like it's come at a weird time, and kind of, and I feel in a way it's like embarrassing a little bit, because I feel like, shouldn't I be past? I've been reading for how long? I've been doing this for how long? And shouldn't I be past this already? But no, you keep hitting things that you need to kind of figure out. You're doing shadow work, or gosh, I didn't know this. Like again, I had this like crisis, confidence in crisis, or crisis in confidence. And, I feel like Spirit's always kind of asking of us to kind of rise to the occasion in some way. And if those risings aren't there, sometimes we need to add them in. Give us a little bit of something to kind of to wake us up and move us out of our comfort zone, because that's really what it's about, right? Is moving us out of getting us out of our comfort zone. And it's something. It's scary, and it makes you feel unsteady, but once you get through it, you realize, oh, I'm stronger, I'm better, I'm doing it, and you have that kind of yay moment for a while in your life, until the next one comes, or until you need to put that next one in front of you. But that's my guess here, is that maybe it's just gotten a little repetitive, and maybe you need to add some things in to make it really, wake up some new stuff, and create some new hurdles to go over. Okay, we're going over just a little bit, and I want to get to our state prayer. It's a weird one. I didn't expect what I got. Oh, thank you, Denise. Appreciate that. She said I was a great teacher. I feel like I'm a long-winded teacher. I feel like I talk too much, but I'm trying. How can we help a family member who is very angry with a passed on family member? How can we help? I'm going to ask my guides that. So I'm hearing that. I'm hearing, again, it's a kind of a main one I hear a lot, especially on this show, is turn, turn, turn. To every season, turn, turn, turn. I feel like this is what they're going through right now. And they're talking about creating space around it, creating grace around it, allowing them this space and this grace to have this expression of grief. It's an expression of grief. They don't hate the family member. They're angry because they're still in a mindset of this shouldn't have happened. Well, it did happen. So And that so often, that's what we bang against when we're in grief. Why did this happen? This shouldn't have happened. This can't be happening. But it's like the wall we keep banging on, and we bang on it in different ways. And this person is banging on this wall with anger. And and they're letting us know with that song, it's a phase. It will pass. But it's something also, because these are talking about the seasons. Like it's something about this is necessary for this person, but they'll move past it. And you're asking, how can we help a family member create space around it, create grace for them, so that you're not standing in judgment of it. You're not telling them they shouldn't feel this way. You're not really doing any of that. You're just kind of holding space and being there for them. You can also, in that space and grace, you can also, suggest certain videos that might help them, or, if you feel prompted to tell them to, counseling might be a good idea if it gets to that point. But they're really talking about you as a person who loves this person, as a family member, creating grace and space around them. Literally, closing your eyes and surrounding them with love, and with kind of this space to be able to have this experience, but also be unconditionally loved and be not judged for it. If there's one thing that I know, we have a big family, so I've lost a lot of family. I'm getting old, but I'm not I'm not 100. But for my lifetime, I've lost a lot of people. And there is one thing that is absolutely true, which is that everybody handles grief differently, and everybody moves through grief stages differently. It's so unique and so personal. I had, took care of my dad when he, helped to care for my dad when he passed. I helped to care for my mom when she passed. I helped to care for my aunt when she passed, working with hospice and in those situations, all completely different experiences, the way I felt about it afterwards, the way I dealt with it afterwards. But you would think it's 3 passings, 3, I was there at the end, I was there, And so it's so individual and so personal. And so that's what they're letting you know, Gina, okay? And I know that I'm sure that you're doing that, but maybe just hearing that that's really a great place to start is that it will help you. Mountain Sunshine, you can find out your guides' names however you want to. I think it's better just to go with your gut instinct, even if it sounds like a weird name or whatever, and then ask what it means to you. What would that mean to you? Well, they just said their name is Shiny. Well, I like shiny things, and shiny things are bright, and that word makes me really happy. And so, so that's kind of how you work with it. There are meditations, though, guided meditations out there that will help your guides, give names. But also, when you ask, what is your name? If an object comes to mind, or a like a cartoon character or something, they may give it to you in a visual, or even a feeling, like, oh my gosh, that I felt like peace. I'm just going to call you Peace. So it really is they're trying to describe something to you, and they'll try to give you the best name possible to describe that, to describe who they are, and also who they are to you. So if they give you like some old like Roman name, you think, well, maybe we had a Roman life together or something. So they're trying to give you information as much as they can in a word. So think, or a couple of words, So, but I think go with your gut, go with your instincts, get quiet, ask your guide, what is your name, and see what comes. And just go with it. See where it leads. Don't be afraid. So on some level, somewhere inside, these things, all of it. It's just a matter of trusting yourself and also being a little bit of a detective, trying to figure these things out and asking yourself these questions. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this very last one, and then we're going to get on to our state today is going to be Louisiana. Okay. If we have to learn suffering to appreciate the unconditional love on the other side, why do we have to keep coming back? Do we lose the appreciation over time? Well, here's the thing. Yop. We don't have to keep coming back. We want to keep coming back. We want to keep coming back because we want to complete the story. We want different experiences. Maybe we go and we have an experience where we're really isolated, and so now we want to experience where we're in a big family and we're completely encapsulated with people. It's the different types of experiences and what you gain from them. So it's very much a soul, and I'm getting this from my guides, right? They're telling me it's very much a soul desire, and every soul is different. Some souls love these really extreme lifetimes, extreme wealth, extreme poverty, they like they feel like it's good for their soul. They learn a lot, and it's a really impactful, expression. And so they like it. So it's not really, it's almost like the question. It's like they're having a problem with the question, because we choose to come. We choose to learn. It's a school. It's like you choosing to go to Harvard. We choose to come. And it's a different way of learning. And if you decide that lifetime was awful and I don't want to go back, I'm tired of this and whatever, I'm done. That's fine. You can do it other ways. We even talked about last time how is either last time or the time before. Maybe it was I get confused. Maybe it was a membership mini reading session, but I literally saw like groups of people watching the earth plane, and they were explaining it like how people stand around and watch like a particular doctor do a particular operation, like the students all stand around. And what they were trying to tell me was that there are people that even watch certain scenarios and things like that, and they're gaining something from it, like secondhand. It's like a secondhand experience that they're gaining from. So whether we know it or not, we're helping other spirits as well, even through our own experience. They're kind of like learning secondhand or gaining something from it. We're all connected, remember? So we don't have to keep coming back. That's where like the question is kind of wrong. We choose to come back because we want to learn more stuff. And we think, and part of it is, yes, understanding who we are, where we come from, understanding it fully, right? So you get the opposite. And so then you understand it more fully. We also come because it's fun. We also come because it's different. We also come because we hear about it and everybody's talking about it. There's lots of reasons why we come here. And And we may come here for other people, like the other people want us to come with them because maybe it's their first time, or maybe because we have we have great experiences together, whatever. But it's so, we're all connected, but we're all individuals too. So we have these individual desires and ways that we'd like to think of it as like creative expression, the way we like to express ourselves this time. And what we'd like to gain. Well, I really want to learn that life was good for forgiveness, but I really want to learn a little bit more. And so maybe I'll go into, create a scenario where I have to do a lot of forgiving of people around me, right? Or I have to be forgiven for something. And then I can really understand forgiveness because I am understanding both sides of it, right? That's the other thing that I remember my guide said a long time ago, was we learn from all sides. So if we've been a caretaker in one life, we'd want to come back and be the one who's cared for in another life. And that's kind of how what karma is. It's not punishment. It's not that. It's learning from all sides, fully getting it, fully understanding it. Yeah. Okay. So no, we don't lose it over time. We add on. We're adding on. Okay. All right. So let's go to our thank you, everyone, and we'll do this again. I think we're going to have a guest next week, and then we'll pick up again the following week, and we'll get more questions answered. So Louisiana. Okay. And this is a series that we're doing. If I do the readings like this, I just do them at the end. If I have a guest, I do like a separate link. But we go across the United States and kind of pray for different states that they'll vote in a way that will help them, that will help it. So we're not really telling them vote this way or this way. We're kind of praying for them that they'll vote so that they might kind of get and have and do what is best for them. Okay. In their state. So Louisiana, when I looked, and I usually do just an overview, and I kind of tell like some positive things and some of the challenges and things. But when I went into Louisiana, it was like, the only way I can explain it is like, there are ghosts there. It's haunted. It's a haunted place. And by that, I don't mean like there's ghosts everywhere. It's not like a haunted house. But what I mean is like, there's a lot of old energy around there. And it's in the land, it's in the space. And what it felt like was, what's caused it to kind of stick around is division. The dividing up. So rich and poor, race things, cultural things, educated, uneducated, all of these divisions that were not just divisions like we have, or how sometimes divisions can be created in certain communities. It's like they were old divisions. And what it felt like needed to happen was that and it's happening over time. It's just that it's taking a while, but it's like these bridges are being built kind of between these divisions. So, for example, for the rich and poor division, there'd be like needs to be like a middle class that's kind of building up and building that bridge. And also, there needs to be more generosity from the rich people there, and also like generational wealth there needs to be more generosity and understanding of the people on the other end. And the people on the other end need to kind of maybe reach out in a different way, or find access to programs and people and things that can help them. But it's almost like this, there needs to be a bridging. And it also felt like the bridging of like the living and the dead, the passed on, and it's so present and intermingled. And it wasn't until afterwards that I thought about stuff like Katrina, because I wasn't even thinking about stuff like that. But it's like it's kind of, it lingers there. And it's not that it's negative, but because it lingers there, it kind of holds people in certain patterns, if that makes sense, or holds people in certain positions. And what needs to happen is kind of that there needs to be kind of a loosening up and a letting go. And some of the letting go needs to be like race stuff, like letting stuff go, letting go some of the stuff from the past, from the wars and mistakes people have made, and mistakes that governments have made. It's kind of like a letting go and I guess forgiveness, but just a letting it go, really. So I guess you could say it's almost like the energy of grudges and like yeah, just that energy kind of sticking around and being held. And I think in different ways too. But from those energies, there's these layers of like other things because of these divisions and kind of old energies hanging around. You had these layers of like addiction and layers of like poverty and things that were kind of almost symptoms of this other stuff going on. At the same time, I felt like it was like a spiritual place on the verge of breaking open. There's something happening spiritually there. So I don't know if the spiritual communities or religions or something, there's something happening with that there, but it almost felt like they were on the verge of a spiritual kind of opening. It was the weirdest reading, you guys. It was the weirdest reading, but it was almost like I wanted to be there because there was so much going on. At the same time, there was something very exhausting about it. Exhilarating, but exhausting, kind of like our times, like exhilarating, but exhausting, right? There's something kind of exciting and exhilarating about being here for this, but at the same time, it can be soul destroying on some days and exhausting. And that's what it felt like. But it felt like you could really feel it there. If there are people from Louisiana, maybe there's reasons why I'm feeling all this stuff. Yes, it is very different. It is very different. Gina's saying like, this is very different than the other states yeah. And why that is, I also feel like there was some like government like corruption things that needed to be figured out as well. Yeah, so I thought for this particular state, maybe we could pray for things like communities coming together, people forgiving the past, letting go of the past, kind of a healing and moving on kind of a thing. So maybe lots of healing energy and maybe lots of like the power of forgiveness kind of energy, surrender, that kind of thing, letting things go. Tethered, that's the word. It's like it's all of these old things and old spirits are kind of tethered to it in some way. So, and I do feel like it is just like letting things go. But yeah, but also these bridges being built, you know, generosity flowing from the people that are very wealthy or the corporations that are there into people that need it or need help, even into the school system or into, other ways that they want to give. That spirit of generosity coming in, and kindness and understanding and non-judgment, things like that. But you can pray about it however you want. Picture it in a color if you want to. Picture these energies just coming in. If you want to go specific, you just want to focus in on unity and light and things like that, that's fine. Or healing, that's fine. However you pray, however you do it is perfect. Okay. Yeah, this is one of my favorite. New Orleans is one of my favorite places on the earth. It really, really is. We had such a good time there. My husband loves New Orleans. We didn't go to any other part of Louisiana. So, but yeah. So, but it still had a weird energy for sure. It still had a weird energy about it, and a chaotic, there was a chaoticness to it. But yeah, so there you go. All right. So yeah, so let's do this. So 2 minutes and then I'll let you guys go. It's been a long session today, so we'll let you go. Okay. Starting now. Okay, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday. I'll see you next week. And if you're interested in the Intuit Club, hit any join button on any video. If you're interested in my 30-minute recorded psychic readings, they're all gone right now, but I'll add more dates later. If you want to be on the wait list, just send me an email, okay? All right, everyone, have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.